Good morning from Vancouver. Today it's heavy rain again. It's not usual like London, but it does happen often, and I still go to work and I still record some of my thoughts because my brain is running an automatic program, and to stop running the automatic program I have to do something else. So I'm recording some thoughts, so I do think and I do something totally different than driving. Otherwise I would be a zombie running the program, my program of going to work or coming back, and maybe entertaining my brain with something like a music. Because music, it's a non-active activity. It's just listening the music that entertain your brain, your mind. It's not a really active activity. You don't have to think. You don't have to do anything. It's just like watching a movie, a soap opera, something like that. You don't have to process anything. Why they did that? Why this one happens? To put any logics in it, which requires some sort of a brain power and brain activity. I mean, you do something. You're not totally dead, but it's very soft, very light brain functions. And what I'm saying, it's I'm trying to do something with the time I use from home to work and back, and maybe if I go shopping sometimes I don't really go shopping, but sometimes I do. So those activities and the time I spend on those activities, I want to make it productive. And of course I do have my own time for relaxation, but I don't want to think that after 10 years working at the same workplace, or let's say work in different workplaces, I rode this road for 10 years, and since I don't take holidays, I got like maybe 2 weeks in 10 years or something like that. Would be, let's say, 360 multiplied by 10. So 3,600 something days I drove the same road. So imagine how well I program my brain to do this automatic task, and how long it takes. So 3,000 something multiplied by 40 minutes one way is like almost 2,000 hours. What can I do with 2,000 hours of my life? So I don't want to think that way. Now, thinking about devices and people doing stuff, destroying their bodies. If you spend, let's say, 10 minutes a cigarette, if you do 4 a day, it's already 40 minutes. Some people do even more. So let's say if you spend half an hour a day smoking, right? And you don't do anything. Some people check their cell phones, some people are on the phone talking to someone, so they kind of use their brain to do something useful. But most people, they just entertain themselves. They puff some smoke, or they have some drinks, and at the same time the brain doesn't get better, the body gets poisoned. So now think of how much time and how much money you spend poisoning your body. It's let's say half an hour a day multiplied by 365 days. So you get 1,000 something hours of smoking a year. If you do that 10 years, 15,000 hours. Imagine what can you do with that much time. What can you do with that much time using your brain in a productive way and keeping your brain active? Because if you stop using your brain, you get all sorts of brain degenerative diseases like Alzheimer and Parkinson and all those, because the brain, through activity, is also generating waste, but require more oxygen and more blood in the brain. So the brain tells the heart, I need more stuff, I need more food, so nutrients and oxygen, and that being carried with through the blood. So the brain gives a signal to the brain, to the heart. The heart pumps slightly faster, depends of how much demand is there, and at the same time there is a waste cleaning process. And of course the better waste cleaning happens during the night. So I can't say if by doing light activity you do really help with dead brain cells and other waste that is being released from the cell energy production and consumption and stuff. I can't say that. I'm not a doctor, not a scientist. You can look it up. But my point is that you poison your brain by inhaling something, or maybe by drinking something, maybe taking drugs and being high for half an hour, whatever. I don't know how this thing works with drugs, how long people are getting high and how long they are staying high, and how much toxin is being released in the brain cells. I have no idea, but you imagine that how many hours people spend doing that out of their lives, so poisoning their bodies, their brain, and wasting time, valuable time, and not keeping the brain active. So when you don't use a muscle, you lose the muscle, right? The same with the brain. If you don't keep it active, the brain is designed to recognize that certain parts of the brain don't get activity. That means that function is useless. So you decide if you want to focus your body energy into training your muscles and keeping your muscles strong and staying active, staying healthy, or you want to focus that energy, the body energy, into training your brain, doing something, let's say mathematics, or being able to recognize stuff. So you train certain brain centers to run better than others. So you start building neuronal connections within the brain, or within the brain, between the brain and the body, the muscles and other organs. So you decide what type of stuff you do with your brain. And now, if the brain recognizes that you use some function more often, and of course it's going to rebuild through they call it neuroplasticity. They are going to it is going to rebuild that particular area because it's higher interest. The brain doesn't really know that you are a clerk in an office, you are a waiter in a restaurant, you are a driver. The brain does not recognize these social human activities. The brain, it's the mind that recognizes those. But the brain, it's a computer. It's a computer with a high power of being like a reconfigurating itself. But the mind see you and the world around you and your interaction with the world. But the brain knows itself. So the mind doesn't know the brain internals, doesn't know how the brain is going to do this type of hardware configuration, like reassigning neurons to other functions. Let's say someone has a brain injury. The mind kind of realizes that, and it's trying to use the brain. It's trying to use the brain to interact with the world. You know, follow paths in life, talking to people, learning stuff, being active, doing stuff. But the mind also realized that there are limitations coming from the body, and one is the brain. So if there is a brain injury, the mind kind of figure out, okay, yeah, I think I hurt myself or something, or I think it's something wrong with my brain. I feel that, you know, my brain is sluggish today. I feel depressed. But now the brain is part of the machine that knows the internal. So its program has a firmware, let's say, a firmware that tells itself what to do inside. So it's part of the human body mechanism, the temple. The Bible talks about the temple. And it knows how to rearrange stuff. And now the brain is trying to use certain parts of the brain. Let's say you lost a limb during that accident, and the brain does not have to control that limb anymore because there is no more limb. So now the mind is trying to use the brain in a new way. But the brain doesn't know what the mind is doing. The brain does just get commands. So the brain gets requests from the mind, like use more of those limbs, or use more that part of the brain, because now the body got to do some accounting job. And the brain starts reconfiguring itself. So you won't find these things in a books. I don't think people got the understanding of how the mind connects with the hardware. So it's a simple basic understanding, but people are either on the science or on the spirituality or religion, and they don't really connect the dots. Maybe some people did write this stuff somewhere, but I did not read it because I don't read much. But I feel, according to what's kind of in the media, when the media pops some news, I feel that when they are so excited that, oh yeah, they discovered this and that, I said, oh, just now? This is like this is old science, not like old science, old knowledge. And now they are bragging that they found something. Maybe they found this, but they just confirmed through scientific theories and discoveries. So in any case, going back, the brain reconfigured itself. Also, the brain does not really know what the mind does about smoking and drinking, and like I said, this self-destroying, self-destructing the body. So the brain gets these commands. I mean, there is a part in the brain, we call it intellectual thinking, which is also controlled by the brain. But what happens? The mind is asking the brain to process, to compute stuff. So the mind is not connected at those times. The mind is not connected to the outside minds, like with the other spirits, other souls, other computers. The mind at the time needs some processing power from the brain, and if the brain has enough training and enough processing power, the brain will just execute something, maybe a program. So when those people who smoke, they are not connecting to anything, they just wanted the entertainment. So that means they are close to external input. They think of themselves, like, you know what, how to get the pleasure. Or people watching porn, okay? there's nothing bad about smoking or something. It's like a, like I said, it's kind of a slow destroying the body. But so I'm thinking, people watching porn, again, nothing wrong as long as people don't overdoing it. Because overdoing it, what it does, descends the body. It's reducing the body and the brain sensitivity to sexual stimuli. The same thing happens with taste. So if you keep smoking or you keep drinking hot drinks, too sweet drinks or stuff like that, you desense your sensors, like a taste sensor. And also the brain starts to reconfigure itself because there's no point to keep processing those signals unless there is a stronger signal. So if you keep, let's say at first you start smoking, it tastes gross, it tastes, I don't know, it's, I don't think there are people who pick up the smoke and the taste and the pleasure right away. They pick up the cigarette and they start puffing and they say, wow, it's so nice, it feels so great, it's such a good taste. I don't think there is such a thing, because the human body was not programmed to give interpretation to those signals that way. So first thing, you sense something gross, because the body, the brain is programmed in the firmware to keep you away from bad stuff that's bad for you, dangerous stuff, bad smells like rotten food smell. It's part of the brain mechanism to keep you safe, to keep your body, your temple in a good shape, so you can help the mind to navigate the world and learn and teach others and do its own thing. But if you keep using those things, what happens? The brain, so if you pass the first barrier, let's first system of defense, telling you, your mind, oh yeah, that's a gross stuff. So if you pass that one, then the brain start ignoring those signals, because you say, you know what, yeah, if the body made it, probably is okay. It's like when you take pills or something like that, they are gross. But you keep doing it because you tell yourself and tell the brain, yeah, ignore those, it's safe, it's good. So you keep poisoning your body with pills or with something nasty. And now the brain, say, you know what, why processing those signals? Because processing those signals require use of energy. And now we start running a program. So we build a program, and if we do it often enough, we don't need the thinking, because it goes to a part of the brain that deals with automatic programming. And once you are in an automatic program, the brain has a less hard job. So the brain needs less power and need less processing power. That means need less food, less energy, less blood and less energy. So it's good for the brain to run automatic program. That's why it is built in a firmware. You know what? If something keep repeating, you send that one to the programming part of the brain, programming center. So you learn those things and you program, and you then next time when you need the mind needs a program or needs the brain to execute something, the brain goes to the box where it has the program, take the program out, which is stored in a memory somewhere, and it starts running a program. And now the whole body saves energy, right? So you don't have to chase animals, kill animals in order to feed the brain for the brain power. It's a very sophisticated mechanism, and how you get rid of the programs. So some people use chemicals like nicotine patches and all those things. That's kind of a trying to get into the hardware, like trying to fool the brain. But actually that was not the process the way you taught the automatic program. So if you get rid of the drug addiction through chemicals, which is like I said, through hardware, then the process might not work well because you still have the program. You just try to tell the brain, you know, that program is no good. But the program is still in the memory. And sometimes you get a craving. So you get a craving, and the brain is not that like I said, the brain is like a computer. The brain is tempted to go, because the mind have a craving, and the brain is tempted to go in the memory to extract the program and get the program out and start running the program again. But the brain, I mean the mind tells the brain, no, don't do that, don't do. But I still want it. It's like I see, let's say I'm a religious person, and I see a beautiful woman, and I think, wow, I love to talk to that woman or something. But she is different color from different country. Obviously, she believes in different religion, and I'm telling myself, no, don't do that. She's like a different. She's Jews or some other religion or something. No. But you have a programming. You have in the firmware tells you, woman, body wants, mind wants, connection, sex, admiring the beauty, whatever, you know, is programmed in your brain, in the firmware. But at the same time, say, no, don't touch that program. Don't touch the program, because once the program comes out from the box, from the memory, you start thinking, oh yeah, I remember how good it feels, and you start bringing feelings, emotions out of the memory, part of that program, and so it's a battle inside, and it's not good for you to have internal battles, because it might lead to frustration and anxiety and all those things. So how you get rid of the program? Yes, that's the question. But I got to work, so I got to the office, and I have to let you go. I have some stuff to do in the morning, hopefully not in the rain. See you later. Bye bye. Have an open mind.